not linear, at least like how it was before. Like the information is basically the same. It's just organized differently. So I'll tell you the page number and we can go there, and then I'll write out for you the key points as we're like reading them. Okay. So let's go ahead and start off in chapter 3 on page 45 at the bottom right. You will see criminal and civil laws. And it just says, right, criminal law is a subsection of public law. It relates to the relationship of the individual with the government, criminal violations, right? It's either like a felony or misdemeanor. Okay, basically a criminal act. Now, civil laws protect the individual rights of people. One type of civil law that relates to the provision of mercy is tort law. Torts can be classified as unintentional, quasi-intentional, or intentional. And go ahead and move on to page 46, and I need you guys to understand, and these are categorized and have examples of what these are as they ask about them. Unintentional torts. These include negligence and malpractice. Negligence is a practice or misconduct that does not meet the expected standards of care and places the client at risk for injury. Example given, a client who has been identified at risk, a nurse fails to implement safety measures that place the client at risk for falls. In short, when you're debating whether it's negligence or malpractice, negligence is when your action, or say lack of action, what you did not do or what you did do, created a risk or potential for harm. This is the best way that I can phrase it to you. And then for example, they then will categorize malpractice. If you realize they have professional negligence, a nurse administers a large dose of medication due to calculation error. The client has cardiac arrest and dies. So malpractice is when your action not only led to the potential risk for harm, but it actually harmed a client. So negligence is the risk or potential, right? They could have. Malpractice is now you did something like a professional action, such as medication administration, that led to the actual harm of somebody. This is the best, and 97% of the time, if you apply whether there was just harm or not harm, and that's how you categorize them, you're gonna get it correct. It's gonna have to be an extremely BS question for you to not get it correct out of just judging in those two categories. Was there harm, or was there the risk for harm because of your action? Right? Okay? Alright. These are unintentional torts. You did not intend for any of this to happen. Quasi-intentional. Invasion of privacy and defamation. Quasi-intentional kind of more so relates to like, you did, but you didn't, but you did. Right? Like, and while it's not causing physical harm, it is causing a different kind of harm. Right? More so like, and we'll go into this. Or invasion of privacy. Intrusion into a client's private affairs or a breach of confidentiality. So you release a medical diagnosis to a member of the press, for example. Right? Like, it's a physically harmless situation, but nonetheless, you're causing harm to the client. Okay? Quasi-intentional. So invasion of privacy is one. Breach of confidentiality. The other two are defamation. And this will be then done to libel, or libel, I believe it is, slander. Now libel, it says defamation with written, word, or photographs. So you're talking smack in a written way. whether it is that you actually wrote it, whether you printed things out and posted them, whether you electronically posted it, right? What is it, tweeters, snappy, sticky snappers, right, like all, Snapchat, Instagram, right? Regardless, you're talking smack, alright? See people, right, I do all the work around here because X person didn't do shit, right, like, boom, there it is. Right, so, you're talking smack, and you can be held in a civil lawsuit for defamation. Slander. Defamation with the spoken word. A nurse tells a coworker that she believes a client has been unfaithful to the spouse. Damn. Verbal. So if someone makes a verbal defamation, slander. If it is written in any shape of a photograph, text, right? It's not verbally being said, like, yes? All right. Everybody good? All right. Lastly, intentional torts. Assault. The conduct of one person makes another person fearful and apprehensive. I was about to say, assault is probably the most misunderstood one because of media and the way that it gets phrased and whatnot, right? So somebody hits somebody else and they're like, oh my God, he assaulted me, right? It's not the fact that you got hit. It was the fact that you made you fearful and apprehensive. Any action, they don't even have to physically